Saturday. Welcome to the Paradigm Shift episode 146. The first episode of 2024. Ooh. It has a nice ring to it, doesn't it? 2024. We're going to have a lot of fun today, guys. Let me know how you're feeling. Big Dave. Big birthday boy. Big birthday coming up this week. We're going to bring you on right now. Let's get this party started. Let us all know how you're feeling in the chats. And let's ask some questions. Let's make this interactive this week, right? Do we have a question for the birthday boy, Big Dave? Ask him anything too. Don't be. So I've heard. There he is.
What's going
What are you wearing?
on, buddy?
What are you wearing?
I'm wearing a jacket. It's cold here.
Yeah, how cold?
40 something.
Who are you? 20.
Yeah.
How you doing, birthday boy?
I'm doing great, man. How are you?
I'm doing good. Do you behave when it's your birthday like I imagine your daughters do, where it's a birthday month, or is it just a day?
It depends on who wants to share my birthday. Right now, it's about birthday 2 weeks. So we got a lot of fun things going on. We're, as you know, leaving for Vegas. We have the CES Mastermind. Dane Cook and I have the conversation. A lot of people, because they're there for traffic conversion, Wealth Bowl, the Mastermind, etc. So we got some big names in a birthday party there on Tuesday night. And then Wednesday, Content Mastermind. Thursday, going Gary Vee, Tim Story, Joe Montana, and then they're throwing Aspire Tour is throwing a birthday bash 7 to 9 there for all their people. And then my wife's flying up, so we got Friday, Saturday, Sunday into the next week. So we'll see. I'm trying to make it a birthday month. We're going to Miami, Boca, Atlanta, and Nashville to celebrate as well. So 200 cities are planned this year, brother. It's going to be amazing.
I would definitely be at that one if I didn't have something that was beforehand.
I know your priorities, brother. We've gone over that again and again. Don't worry about it. We got plenty of people, man. We just miss you. We love you. You're always invited.
I know. For everybody that's on here now who might catch replay, is there a way for other people to still get involved?
Yeah. Look, man, the Aspire Tour is huge, right? So the Mastermind sold out. If you want to come by, we have a Q&A meetup at the studio 2 to 4 on Tuesday. The Top Golf thing is sold out. Not probably a few spots left in the dinner, but yeah, we'd love to see people. Just email me, david@dmeltzer.com. We definitely love to see you in Miami, Boca, Atlanta, and Charlotte. I mean, what did I say? Nashville.
I love it. I was thinking about you. My fiance got me for Christmas this Aura ring, and now I have a sleep coach.
There you go. That Aura ring's super good, man. And eventually they'll open up the API, so all the data that is your personal data will be owned by you, and you actually will be able to sell it back to the R&D companies with pharmaceuticals, medical device companies, healthcare, insurance companies will be giving you a discount for selling back your data off of that ring, so that they can get an aggregate of information from 30-something men who live in Manhattan who are engaged. It's going to be incredible. So you're doing actually a great good for the common good when you wear that ring, in case you didn't know that.
And also it's cool because I know you have a sleep coach and you're very big on that stuff, but it shows you where you can improve, what things might be setting you off track and so forth, then you can be proactive.
Oh, I know, man. It's amazing. And especially in your 30s, right? Most people in their 30s are going through a quantum shift, and they're starting to realize that the aggregate effect of some of their behaviors in their 20s that weren't showing the physical, emotional, intellectual results can't be continued on through the 30s, or else you'll end up looking like me in your 50s. So it's so nice that you have that benefit, that you treat yourself so well in your 30s, instead of, like most people like me, abusing themselves in the 30s and having to play catch up into their 40s and 50s.
I just want to say, I think anyone would be blessed and lucky to look like you in their 50s.
You're too kind, my man. I love you.
How young are you going to be?
56. I'll be 56 on January 11th, 111. And I feel great. That's the best part about it. So been healthy. I speak to a lot of people all week long. Even more than COVID, I haven't seen this many people be sick. So about 50% of the people that I'm interacting with somehow have a cold.
Yeah. You know who you share a birthday with?
Many people.
My puppy.
Oh, really?
He's going to be 1 years young.
Yeah, my puppy is January 2nd. So they're very close in age. That's awesome.
I know there's no coincidence there that you and him have the same birthday.
Yeah, we're both furry and lovable. and we love you unconditionally.
Fair enough.
And we like to lick you.
Oh, don't stop now. Keep going. This is awesome. We're going to continue just a little bit of our teachings of A Course in Miracles, and we're going to bring on Dr. Bryce Appelbaum, who I'm super pumped about. I saw this nugget this morning when I was reading Course in Miracles, and I really loved it, and I'd love for you to just elaborate on it. It was this: only perfect love really exists. Therefore, if there is fear, it produces a state which does not exist.
Yeah, that's what I talk about in the paradigm shift, no pun intended, of we are one, and what are we doing to interfere with it? Within the context of existentialism, I am is that holy state, that perfection. It's the love, the promotion, protection, and propulsion of the omniscient, all-powerful, all-knowing that loves us more than our mom. And so when we look at fear, it's a clue to what we're doing to interfere with that holiness, with that omniscient, all-powerful, infinite, abundant, unified system that we all belong to. And so fear is a clue. It's a clue of the past and a clue of the future. And knowing human nature and human capability, we prescribe interference to fear. We prescribe ego to edge the goodness, the gold, the greatness out of our lives. And so when we look for the clues of fear of the past and fear of the future, we then start to understand the genetic and energetic patterns that we incorporate or prescribe to that fear of the past and fear of the future. And as we prescribe that interference, we prescribe the needs of the ego to protect us physically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, all the different protections that are perceptions. We start to realize the only thing that is real is the holiness, the oneness, the omniscient, the all-powerful and all-knowing, not the interference, the patterns that we create through the prescription of interference, the prescription of ego, the prescription of the needs of the ego to be offended, to be angry, upset, anxious, frustrated, depressed, separate, inferior, superior, resentful. And when we start to learn to identify the clues from the Course in Miracles, the clues of what we're doing in fear of the past or fear of the future, to interfere with our holiness, our oneness, our all-powerful, our all-omniscient being, we then can make better choices, ones that are aligned with where we want to be or better, ones that are aligned with the protection and promotion and love, the one true perfection that exists within the holiness, the oneness of the unified, abundant, infinite system that we all belong to. And so as we look for the clues, the patterns, and make those choices, we come to a revelation, an awareness of that oneness of the holy power, the Holy Spirit, and we start to work on dissipating, dissolving, and disappearing the fear, the interference that we prescribe to it, and we start sharing in that oneness, the omniscient, all-powerful, infinite, unified system that we all belong to. And so you could see the evolution of 8 years of studying the Course and understanding how that perception and perspective has created greater abundance, greater awareness, and more love, that unconditional love, the oneness that I live in but for minutes and moments when I identify the fear, understand the patterns of my genetic and energetic inheritance to prescribe interference, and then get back to center and roll in the right trajectory. And where you find, working with me, that same frustration is when I am trying to move you forward into that oneness from the lessons I've learned. And I sometimes forget, hey, it's taken me 8 years to get to where, just within the course, 17 years within some of the other practices that I've, developed. And my greatest frustration as things grow is the people I love the most, like you. I try to move you forward without teaching you the steps and get frustrated and say, oh, I can't believe they're doing this or that. I care more than they care. It's not a matter of that. It's, you're still going through the course for the very first time. You're still getting exposed to, you've never been married, never had kids, never did all of these things. And it's unfair to both you and I, as we work together, to put or prescribe my own fear of the future for the people I love more in an ignorant arrogance, instead of sharing with you, hey man, I don't know what I don't know. I can just give you the directions to where I am, and you can take those directions, and I can hopefully teach and bring the best out of you to accelerate your journey faster than the journey that I've taken, if that journey is one that you are synergistic or supplementary to. So just an added perspective in our own coaching relationship and mentorship relationship, where you coach so many people and you share in the same frustration that I do with the people that you work with. You're like, are you kidding me? How come you don't see what I see? Well, because you don't have the 17 years or the 8 years or whatever the amount of years it is to get to where we are and where we want to be. Just a great nugget for today. And I know we have an extraordinary guest coming on here in the next couple of minutes. Do not want to cannibalize the genius of the Siegel, the eagle. But I thought it was important to share how that passage means so much to me in our relationship as well.
That was an epic nugget. In fact, I don't know if Justin's on here, but you should definitely give that to an editor and cut a clip from that. That was awesome. Just a quick follow-up question that we're going to bring on Dr. Bryce. So in regards to the ego, in Kabbalah, they call him the opponent or the competitor. Some people call him the devil, whatever the case may be. Should we even want to understand why he's there, or it's not necessary, just create systems and practices to tame and overcome it?
Well, I think identifying the fear for the sake of what. So I don't think because it doesn't exist, it's not real. Identifying what's not real in the sense of holiness or oneness or unification of that abundant infinite system that we belong to is important. But why would then be subjective in its own perception, right? So if we look at two types of fear, I may be fear of jumping off a cliff for a different reason than you are. So once again, the why is not real, neither is the fear. It doesn't mean we shouldn't take precautions and cautions in the physical realm and take heed to or awareness of fear. But in most aspects, when you look at why am I afraid to start this business, or afraid to move forward in a relationship, or afraid to break off a relationship, I think the awareness of fear is much more important than the why. And what's even more important is the journey for the sake of what am I moving forward in a trajectory of what I think I want, with an open mind, open heart, and open hands. And so there's an interesting relationship there. But I constantly, as you know, study time, fear, relativity. There's so many things that we can study to continue to try to raise our awareness. But let the expert talk about it. I've talked long enough. We had our first guest, Doc, cancel. So I had to cover for 15 minutes. I usually like to learn. I come here on Saturday mornings to learn, not to preach and teach, but every once in a while I get to preach and teach.
Dr. Bryce, thank you for joining us. How are you?
I'm great, and I love this conversation I'm walking into. Wayne Dyer to start the day, and all. I mean, this is what life's about. So
Yeah.
Appreciate you letting me listen to this. This is fantastic.
Of course. And full disclosure, I am now the third most handsome man on this line. And for all of our listeners, a community that might not have been familiar, we always suggest do a deep dive, check out all the unbelievable content Dr. Bryce has going on. We're just going to jump right in. You ready for me?
Let's do it.
I was checking out your content, which is awesome, by the way, and very informative. And you talk a lot about vision and that stuff. We're going to get into that. But I saw you talking about the correlation or the connection between ADD or ADHD and vision. What is that about? And what are maybe some of the misconceptions that people have in regards to those?
So glad you're bringing this up. So mental focus in general is so grounded in where we place our visual focus. And healthcare has it all wrong about the eyes, and people don't understand that vision and eyesight are separate entities. But when we talk about vision being brain and how the brain is deriving meaning and then directing appropriate action, if you have difficulty focusing your eyes, you're going to have difficulty focusing your mind. And so many kids in particular who can't articulate how they're feeling and aren't able to be as self-aware, that come as we all are, as you know, what comes with life experiences in a classroom setting, when they're looking at a desk or trying to read, and they're all squirmy and they're having difficulty focusing their eyes and converging their eyes and taking in a clear, comfortable image, it gives the impression that they can't attend. And so many of the symptoms with ADD, ADHD parallel the exact symptoms that are associated with a couple different functional vision problems. And yet the medical world will just slap labels on behaviors without ruling out the root cause. And so often ADD, ADHD, even dyslexia, they're incomplete diagnoses unless these functional vision problems are ruled out first.
Beautifully said. Dave, what are you following at?
Yeah, man, that's so amazing, because I see so many people beyond just the idea of vision, reflection, and understanding and awareness, which are all interrelated to the way we see things, which are incorporated by the lenses that we've been given. And obviously there's a physical lens within the context of your expertise. And then there's meaning lenses that, you know, a lot of people talk about. The same people we were talking about before are really in the realm of those different perception lenses that we have. But it's so interesting to realize that without understanding our correct lenses physically, that it will be misinterpreted on the back end of the meaning that we give things. And then even within the frustration or anxiety or fear side of it, if we're not physically seeing things, we can create more interference than that's necessary. And then, of course, it accelerates so many, especially children, in the wrong direction by these labels. And, you know, one of my favorite lines that I stole from someone out there, so I apologize, but labels are for shampoo. And that's about as good as a label will get. And I find that a lot of experts, when they don't know what they don't know, they love to use labels. And then you can incorporate your own meaning. And usually, unfortunately, it's negative. And 80% of those labels are negative, and 90% are repetitive. And we have to stop that input in the imagery that is created by these labels. And it takes great people like you to help us understand how that sight and vision and meaning are all interrelated. But I would say the majority of the experts that I talk to forget about the sight, and they're all stuck in the ethereal, the philosophical, the religious and spiritual side of meaning and perception. And they forget that, hey, we are human beings, and if we're inputting data wrong, our perceptions will be based off of bad data, and that could cause even greater substantial detriment in our lives. So thank you so much for that insight. I'm going to go down that rabbit hole right after we get off here.
And labels they're temporary endpoints, right? And especially in the medical world, so many of us use labels to define us. And with the right treatment, a label can be completely eliminated. But also, let's figure out what's causing these labels, and let's stop judging based off of just where we think things should be, and really taking where somebody's functioning and operating and have them unlock their potential in the best way possible.
Craig, I got to say this. One of the things, I'm blessed to talk to a lot of people. I'm amazed how many people who have dyslexia end up in extraordinary places. But they end up after they figure out they have dyslexia. But there's something about the way they're seeing things that creates or stimulates a different part of the mind, imagination, and collaboration that creates great successes in their life.
I mean, dyslexia, just if you look it up in the dictionary, it means difficulty reading words. There's so many reasons for difficulty reading words. In my wheelhouse, tracking and focusing and eye coordination and eye teaming, but very often we're not accessing so many aspects, so many areas of our brain. And those individuals you're speaking about who are compensating and relying on other sensory systems and other mental capacities to give them an advantage because they have to. I mean, sky's the limit for all of us, but specifically when we're forced to adapt and make the most out of what we have.
This is so good. I predict there's a lot of people on here that are like, wow, this is really fascinating. What exactly is vision therapy? How would you define that in a
Yeah.
nutshell, Dr. Bryce?
So vision therapy is essentially physical therapy for the brain through the eyes. So just like any therapy, good therapy relies on motivation and compliance to make the most lasting, life-changing improvements. But vision therapy is really arranging the conditions to raise to somebody's awareness how they're using their visual system so they can learn how to self-regulate, self-monitor, and build the foundation in terms of skills, abilities to be able to read efficiently and fluently, to be able to navigate through space confidently, to be able to play sports and react with our dominant sensory system being that system that's guiding and leading rather than interfering so often like it is for many of us. And vision therapy, most people have never even heard of it, which is ridiculous, which for me personally is why I've been on this tear the last year and a half or so just to raise awareness, because this profession has been around for over 100 years. And yet, for many people listening, it's the first time they're hearing this. So, eye doctors are trained on intervention of eye disease and on structure, and that's important, but that's based off of a reactive medical model. And vision therapy is much more proactive. It's taking problems and fixing them or enhancing vision to give us an advantage. And literally, you can leverage vision for better mental performance, physical performance, and anyone can enhance and improve their vision. But specifically, if there's problems, vision therapy helps eliminate those roadblocks so that we can use our brain the way in which it's wired and actually have our eyes work as a cohesive team.
Quick follow-up, Dave. Dr. Bryce, so I imagine everyone just heard that like, whoa, what is something tangible I might be able to apply today to potentially enhance my vision? Is there one strategy you can give them?
I mean, I give 1,000. So in general, what we're all doing right now, staring at a screen. Screens are the new pandemic. And I've been saying this for a while now. The average American spends 7 hours and 4 minutes on the screen every day, and that's average, which means many people are way more than that. And yet screens aren't going anywhere, and this is the new normal for every aspect of life. So what most people don't realize is we can develop the foundation visually to thrive in this screen digital world, but very often it requires training and it requires more flexible focusing, more flexible eye coordination, better stamina. So to really simplify, we've got two main types of eye muscles. We've got inside muscles and outside muscles. Inside muscles control our focusing system. So that's making something clear, keeping it clear, that lets us know what something is. Outside muscles are eye coordination, letting us know where something is. So in a normal, healthy brain, the where and the what give us a single clear image. Yet when we're staring at a screen, our focusing system's locked in. All of our pupils are constricted because we're engaging with light and a near device. And they're stuck that way until you look away or until you get up. So everybody should not be on the screen for more than 20 minutes max without taking a break for 20 seconds and looking at something at least 20 feet away, throwing our vision into the distance. But there's clear exercises we can do to help build more stamina and flexibility with, say, that focusing system. So one could be a near far focus activity. So take your hand, cover up one of your eyes, grab a pen or pencil if you've got it, or even your finger. Bring it as close to you as you can until it gets a little blurry, and then stop and try and make it clear. So make it as clear as you can, hold it for 5 seconds, think about looking hard, constricting the focus. Your pupil will actually be constricting. And then after 5 seconds, look all the way out the window across the room as far as you can, throw your focus into the distance, relax, look soft, engage periphery, and then come back to close. 5 seconds, and back to far for 5 seconds. So it's essentially push-ups with the inside muscles, the focusing system. We all work out our bodies. Why do we not work out our eyes and our minds? And so literally, the more you do this, the closer that finger will be able to get, the more flexibility you have with gross stimulation, relaxation. But then we can actually fine tune this with office-based therapy where we're lifting weights with lenses and using Prism and using VR and different types of equipment and techniques to be able to rapidly look somewhere, make it clear automatically, make our eyes focus at the same plane, if you're doing this with one eye, you want to then do it the same with the other eye, but you'll realize one finger is probably closer than the other, which means under two eye conditions, literally your eyes are focusing in different planes. You're creating this competition for your brain over which eye to use. And this near problem is the root cause of so much nearsightedness or far away getting blurry because of the near problem, especially with screens. We've got research that shows the longer you're on a screen, the more you're in the dark, the less you're outside, the more likely you are to get myopia or nearsightedness. And yet all my colleagues treat the symptom and just say, here's stronger glasses, which makes far away clearer, treats the symptom. The underlying problem's still there. So then this cycle rapidly increases and you're getting new glasses and a stronger prescription until you're not. And so this for kids has become a huge problem. I mean, the average myopia in America right now is about 42 to 44% of the population. It was in the 20s or 30s back in percentages back in the 70s. And it's estimated now that by 2050, 50% of the world will be nearsighted, which is nuts. And that's really from screens and near devices and all this visual stress that we don't have the tools in place to meet the demands of.
This is good stuff. Eye push-ups, right, Dave?
I love it. I mean, it's, we started with Wayne Dyer. If we change the way that we look at things, the things we look at change. And a lot of people don't take into account the actual eyes themselves and the muscles, the inside and outside usage that we're talking about. I think the other thing just to bring awareness to, and I was blessed to be with the Surgeon General and ask him what are the greatest health concerns that we have, and beyond obviously obesity, beyond our mental health and smoking, was the sun. And a lot of people don't realize, they think about skin in the sun, but they don't realize the impact that our environment and our climate has as well on the eyes. So I am sure that there are exercises and protective measures to make sure that our eyes are utilizing the natural light that is increased in its intensity, the UV rays, to our advantage. And it seems to me my favorite thing about what you're doing, doctor, is you're really taking the situation it is today and maximizing the opportunities by utilizing exercises and perspective in order to effectuate a better way to live entirely by changing the way we look at things, so the things we look at change. And it's amazing how so many different areas that you never think about are creating a better way to live, and an acceleration and aggregation and a compounding of exponentiality. I will tell you, one of the things that come to mind before we let everyone go, there's this distance between our behaviors and the outcomes that we want, the results that we want, the consequences that we want, or better. And this is definitely one of those things that shortens that distance. It shortens the distance between the behaviors that we have and the results that we want. And it's something that, like sleep, everybody does and they ignore it. And I love to find these simple things that people do for 8 hours a day and they don't think about practicing it, putting their focus ironically on it. And I always say I want to be in the Hall of Fame for sleep because it's the number one habit that everyone has. I think I'm going to also add, I'm going for a second Hall of Fame. I'm going for the Vision Hall of Fame. I'm going to start working out my eyes. Forget Joe Montana at the Aspire Tour. They're all going to line up for my autograph for being in the Hall of Fame of sleep and seeing. And Doc, we'll be giving you a call because I got to get the exercise routine. I'm blessed. I wish everything at 56, I'm turning 56 this week. I wish everything worked as well as my eyes, but I'm sure if I'm already blessed to have either a genetic or energetic inheritance of these eyes, I could even get better. And the Hall of Fame is within my reach. So thank you so much for all the great insight. No pun intended.
Vision does not have to deteriorate as we age, and yet for so many of us, here's reading glasses and take the easiest step. The near far focus activity we did, that's doing push-ups. But imagine more than body weight work. Imagine going to the gym, and imagine putting in the work to be able to then get in ridiculous shape visually. I mean, we've got online programs that can do that. We've got in-person stuff. So David, let's talk later because I want to get you in the Hall of Fame and lot we can do to get
Thank
there.
you
Yeah,
so much.
yeah. This was
Absolutely.
awesome. Doc, real quickly before we hop off, is there anything that you're working on right now that's super excited about that we can encourage our audience to get involved with?
I appreciate the opportunity. So I've got this program called ScreenFit, which is kind of an online vision wellness program, vision training program designed to literally get you to stare at screens effectively without symptoms for an extended period of time. This thing is turned into an absolute animal. It's screenfit.com. We've got Marriott offering it to its employees, a bunch of different companies for corporate wellness, and are now even talking about a government contract for it. As young as 5, as old as 89 have gone through it successfully, and 100% of people who have gone through this have seen a decrease in symptoms, which still blows my mind every time I say that. So definitely check that out. That's kind of like the sit-ups, air squats, push-ups, all the body weight work we can be doing, and literally can benefit anybody. But then, working with a specialist like me and reach out, I can send whoever's closest to you, when somebody reaches out, really gets your visual system and your eyes and brain and body to be working as efficiently as it should be forever.
I love it. We're going to encourage everyone to go there. Thank you both. This was priceless. Big Dave, you never look better. Happy early birthday. Dr. Bryce, thank you for your residence. A beautiful time today, and I can't wait to connect further.
Appreciate being on here.
Let's connect, buddy. Thank you. Thank you, Craig. Have a wonderful day.
Bye, guys. Love you both. Have a great weekend.
Bye.
You too.
Fantastic episode, guys. Episode 146 in the books. If you weren't already familiar with Dr. Bryce, definitely check out all the exciting things he has going on. Thank me later. And as always, Big Dave, thank you for your consistency and your commitment, and we wish you a happy birthday. If you guys like a free 2024 goal-setting masterclass, totally free, no catches, just value, you can text the number on the bottom of the screen and we'll send it over to you, 917-634-3796. Let's all set our right intentions and conquer our goals and do some big epic stuff. And again, thank you both to the guests for just an awesome conversation. Let's have a great weekend, guys. Bye-bye.